One of the things the new school board will work on is a new contract with the teachers pretty immediately. And what would be your position, your feelings on some sort of pay for performance clause in a contract for the teachers?
Well, I know that it's not a popular concept.
Also, I just want to tell everybody, keep your answers a little bit shorter, okay? We're going on and on.
Yeah. Again, I know it's not a popular concept, but I think knowing teachers and being a part of our teacher union before moving into my administrative position, I do recognize that they are looking for things that are fair. So if there is a plan that's created that will help the union understand the fairness of the system, then I am in true favor of pay for performance. I'm currently principal of a school that uses incentives and bonuses for teachers, and we have not in the 8 years I've been there had a teacher said I was unjustly decided upon. So I am very much in favor of merit pay and bonus pay.
Thank you.
My answer is going to be short and sweet. I come from corporate America, and that's how we're evaluated, pay for performance, so I do support it.
Great.
Yes, absolutely. I think there needs to be some mechanism for it. My wife's a teacher, and I know it, like Cordell says, it's a sticky issue, but we have to look at ways to encourage, enhance, entice better performing teachers, people to go the extra mile, and it has to be fair. We can't just arbitrarily, okay, this number this year was bad. We understand that education is a process, so the measurement has to take into consideration more than that one moment in time snapshot.
Okay, well, I would say that overall I would agree with that, as long as, you know, again, we're talking about budgets and whether the money's there or not. You know, and how that would be evaluated, who would evaluate that, would play a big part in that for me, but, you know, overall I would be in favor of that.
Tim? Thank you.
Well, having discussed this before, the teachers union historically has not been in favor of pay for performance. If you can document and substantiate adequately that this teacher is performing at the levels you want, absolutely, every day of the week, and we'd find the money.
Okay. Very difficult situation to deal with, because, you know, it's controversial as you look at it. I really believe that our teachers don't want people in their profession to do a poor job, and they want to be evaluated on the good work that they do. I think the key will be is, you know, can we find, you know, I think we've mentioned already, an evaluation system that is fair and consistent so that everybody feels good about it. And once that is in place, I think, and everybody knows the rules, I think people will understand that that's the direction to go. Again, financially, it's you know, it probably could be helpful. It would be something that you would look at and hopefully encourage people to advance further. I mean, right now in our system, it allows us to, you know, pay people based on, you know, how many years of education they have and degrees they have. Performance issues are what everyone is looking at right now, and I think, you know, with a fair system, I think that I would be in favor of that as well.
Unequivocally in favor. And I listened to the lady from Advance Illinois and the work that they're doing on an evaluation system. The key piece seemed to be peer involvement, so that it isn't some kind of top-down magic measure, but it does have some peer involvement in it. And in fact, where I am is that, and where I would be negotiating and where they would run me out of the room, is there would be no raises except for improved performance. That all and any new wages that go into the public school system will be for performance gains.
Okay. Thanks. Much quicker. We'll start down again with Mr. Oates. The high school reform measures, just give us quickly your general impressions of those, and if you agree or disagree overall, and if you have any specific things that you are particularly concerned about.
I think this is a valuable exercise for the city of Decatur. One of the things we stress is the transparency of the things we want to do. So we put things out for community response. We have the meetings, the open forums. We invite the parental feedback, the neighborhood. We have this lovely lady whose name is Jan, who came to argue against the high school project. She now comes to every meeting for everything, and she is a firm supporter because she has been heard. She's been allowed to participate. I think there are many things we talked about. The freshman academy, I think, is an interesting idea. The uniform concept goes to culture. I think has been proven in many schools to have an impact. I think there are many side issues that we'll be looking at, but I think it's something, its time has come.
Yeah, I appreciate the fact that we continue to go to the community. When we did Decision for Decatur, we spent a lot of time going to the community for that. This has also been a very good learning process. It will be difficult. There are a number of things that people are going to put forward. And as we continue to go and have some more conversations and some more community meetings, I think more of those will be talked about. And there will be some people that will take both sides of this. I think one of the key issues, again, is the school safety point that is brought up. And for both students who are there, that have come, and the parents and the staff, they're all kind of on the same page. These are the directions that we want to go. I'm not convinced that school uniforms is going to make a difference, but I know that that's a start, and it's going to be something that would eventually be a positive, but I don't necessarily think that's going to be a way for us to really correct some of the things that really take place with discipline. But I do feel like the task force has been, anytime you're involved in the community, the task force has been very successful in that. And I hope that as they make a presentation to the board, that the board listens to some of those comments that they have to make and will put those things high on the agenda, because I think that's what the community wants, and that's a key for what happens with Decatur Public Schools. What does the community think, and what are the perceptions of what we need to help improve, and perceptions of things that will make our school system better.
Mr. Phillips?
The process is a good one, and it's interesting to watch, though, compared to the Decision for Decatur or the high school task force. All of us can look and say, well, we think this building ought to look like this. Or we can walk around the halls and say there shouldn't be things that look bad or don't perform well or not enough electrical capacity. Those are inanimate and non-personal. And it worked very well there. And we tried to copy that model to go to the reform task force, and it got more difficult because you're dealing with personal issues. You're dealing with uniforms. You're dealing with discipline issues. You're dealing with our teachers doing a good job of their academic success. So it's a much more difficult process. In doing that, I think they've come up with some very good things, a good first step, but in my opinion, inadequate. One, at least so far, there have been no measures put in place. We have not said one word about by doing all these things, we'll get a 1% gain or a 2% gain in any measure you want to have, whether it's ISAT or ACT or any other measure that you want to have. We have not quantified the gain, and therefore we will have a difficult time deciding whether we gained anything. And so that's the failure in what's been done so far. But I said in an earlier one of these conversations that we need to just do it every year. Okay, we can do this, we see what we get out of it, we throw out the bad parts, we do it again, and we add some new things. Because this is a moving target. If we get a 5% gain in some kind of academic performance, that's 1/10 of the way to where we need to get there. So let's do 5% this year and 5% every year for the next 10.
High school reform is a national buzzword right now. It's a place where money is being funneled nationally, and so I think it's wonderful that we have taken on the task in the city of Decatur. But again, I think it's, for us, we have to understand, first of all, I know both high school principals, very good friends, and they would say, we need middle school reform. They would say, you keep sending me this, and you keep asking me to get that. And so I think whenever you start anything at the top, the high schools are the jewels of the city. There's no doubt about it. Any city you go to, you want to look at the local high schools to determine what success is going on in the city. But I think when you're planning to start at the top and ignore what's going on underneath is very unfair to those people who are at the high school. We need a middle school reform. We need to figure out how do we get 7th and 8th graders to get serious about academics so that when they become 9th graders, they are already on a path to success, not trying to find a path after they've already determined they're not interested in a path. So that's right there at the top. After that, I think it's wonderful whenever you get community people talking. I think we have to figure out a better way to get all representation in that talk. I know we say, well, we open it to everyone, but then when you look around the room, are we really getting everyone's opinion? And if we're not, then we have to seek people, because in the end, we've got to take their kids. We can't keep saying, well, she didn't volunteer. That's the same mom who, boy, is in trouble and causing problems in our high school. So we have to find a way to get everyone to the table. Finally, I think the idea that a uniform will change the behavior of a kid is unacceptable. Again, I'm in a school where we do wear uniforms K through 8, but we create an atmosphere and a culture in our school of success and expectation, and that is what it takes. It's not going to be a color of shirt, a color of pants. It's going to be creating a competitive, successful environment where kids feel like I came here to learn, and that's the task that we have at hand.
The high school reform has been very positive. When you look at that, it's a transformation. And any time you look at a transformation, it's change. And it's fear of the unknown. We've driven engagement by having the community, parents, staff, students, and teachers involved. So I think it's been very positive. A lot of good information has been shared, and I've learned a lot.
I too have been involved in it. It's been a very good process. It's had its ups and downs. Great community input. We've looked at a lot of interesting ideas and interesting concepts. I think the key, sometimes, initially it started like, okay, we're going to do this and we have 3 months to do it. This, again, we didn't get here overnight. We're not going to solve it overnight. I think we've identified some issues around freshman communities or a freshman community concept that we could probably implement soon and get something done. Getting a group of, talk about measurements, getting a group of freshmen in. This is their GPA when they start. Let's monitor and see where they go as they progress through their high schools. We'll see if those initiatives have helped make that cohesive group and created that there. Discipline. Again, making sure that everybody understands from the top down, this is the way it is, these are the consequences. It's going to be a tough road to hoe, because as we tighten up discipline, we're going to see disciplinary action and people are going to get nervous about that. But it has to happen in order that things change. But I think if we find those fundamental issues focused around discipline and safe schools and academic success, we can lay a good foundation. The parent community involvement and pride, that will take on a life of its own afterwards.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, as far as high school reform, I've also been involved with that committee. I too have learned a lot, and I have enjoyed the opportunity to be involved at that level as a community member, as a parent, grandparent. I have to tell you that in the beginning, when they first came up with this whole tax thing, to fund the reconstruction of the high schools and all of that, as a business owner, my gut reaction was, are you kidding me? Because as a restaurant owner, I'm already collecting 10% from my patrons, and now I'm going to collect 11% from them. But once I sat down and was given that whole plan and what they were going to do with that, I changed my mind, and I was thrilled to work with that. I was thrilled to walk around the neighborhoods and talk about it. The high school reform, I think, is a big idea, but I think it's going to work. And I think the more community involvement, the more parents, students that we have involved, the better it's going to be.
Last question, we'll start down here and go this way. Just in about a minute, tell us why voters should work for you, or should vote for you.
Okay. Why
Vote.
Why voters should vote for me? Well, I do think that hopefully what I'm going to lack in experience, I am going to make up for in passion. And just really, really wanting to be there. I do love Decatur. It's been my lifelong resident. I've always loved kids, always loved being involved with kids. For me, it is about the kids. I mean, I realize, like we've said, it's a business and it's all of these things. But I hope I'm there to help move us forward with the community, with the parents, get people more involved. I'm always willing to listen. I like to hear both sides of a story before I make my decisions. And I think I'm a pretty open-minded person. And I hope with those things that that would be a good thing for the board.
Thanks.
Okay. I too looking forward to hopefully being a part of this process. I've been involved with it over 15 years at a lot of different levels. understand how the system works in the buildings, in the administration. I've worked in the building level, I've worked at the district level, understand how the different groups interact, different challenges and what have you. So I feel that virtually having that awareness of how the overall machinations work can help. Education is important, and I believe it's always been important to me. It's been important to my family, and I'm always looking for new ways to improve it. And it's time to look at, we've done things the old way, but it's time to look at some new vision and some new ideas. And what can we do to change and make things better? Keep what works, replace what doesn't, and move forward in a good direction.
I'm determined, dedicated, and committed. I have strong leadership skills. I care about this community. I really do. I'm a lifelong resident of Decatur, and I really feel that I can make a difference. I'm not an educator. I'm a parent, and I'm someone who cares about the future of Decatur. So for me, it's about giving back and making a difference.
Thanks.
As an educator, I recognize that this field that we're in is a mission. It's not just a job. It's not just, and anyone who looks at a teacher and thinks that it's about pay cannot have a clue. And so because of that, I recognize the importance of getting this thing right. I think this community trusts me in my service that I've given to the community over the last 16 years. I will always attempt to be honest, straightforward, but the bottom line is they know me as an activist for kids, and that's why I believe that I deserve their vote in this school board election.
Thank you.
I view myself, and I'm hoping that those in the community that could potentially vote for me, as an activist, change agent. Anything I participate in, will have new ideas, we'll look at new ways to do things, and we'll try to think about what happens if we turn things upside down. I am not a slow process person of let's inch our way forward. I want to look at what the alternatives are in terms of doing things in a very different way. That's not condemning any past actions or anything other people have done. I just think we are where we are right now, which is very unsatisfactory in terms of the performance of our students. And we need to make some significant new ideas put in place so that we can change and become a system that we'll be proud of and will attract people to Decatur.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm a lifelong resident of Decatur. This is my home. I love the city, and I love this school district. I spent over almost 30 years, not counting when I went to school, in this school system. I understand it. I know the quirks. I know what can make it better. I believe that, that I have the knowledge and experience to help lead, and I think change can happen. And I think that's what we need, is we need change. We need people who are willing to step up and stand up and be there for our students. I think I'd like to give back to the community some of the great things that I think I've learned here, and some of the great things this district can offer. And I hope for people would vote for me for that reason.
As a board member, you are one of 7, so one of your primary skills needs to be as a consensus builder. All the ideas in the world are wonderful, but unless you get 3 other people to see your point of view and be willing to follow you, they die along the roadside. So one of the most important things to do is be open-minded, be able to discuss these topics in detail, be able to come up with procedures to act on them. The other odd thing is here we have all these teachers and other people, and the school board has 1 employee. That's all we have, superintendent. It's the only person we hire. It's the only person we fire. Everything else the school board does comes from a recommendation from a lower level up through the superintendent. We can say yes, we can say no, we can send it back. Experience, board knowledge are all crucial in knowing what to do. And I've been there and done that. And that's why I would look for the vote.